We are really unpacking what it really takes for the Nigerian youth to achieve true financial freedom in a system that is full of obstacles. Let's continue. Our next question will be, we said something about Ponzi schemes, and the question will be, what are the new red flags? Because Ponzi schemes are always dynamically changing, you know, they're always trying to reinvent themselves. So what are the red flags that young people should be watching out for, I mean, as we're going out of 2025, heading into the new year and all that, especially in these times when tech is involved?
Well, first red flag is unrealistic returns. When you see an investment opportunity that is promising you unrealistic returns within a short period of time, that is a major red flag to look at. Then second thing you should look at is the use case, the utility of the investment instrument. One thing I used to figure out if an investment is good is what value is the investment bringing to the marketplace. Aside investors, with these things still strive on its own, because one major characteristic of Ponzi scheme is that they rob Peter to pay Paul. That's how Ponzi scheme try. They collect money from this person to pay this person. So without investors, Ponzi schemes are not sustainable. But when you see a true business, a true financial instrument that is bound to grow, you see that it has utility, it has value that is bringing to the marketplace. So without investors even putting money into that instrument, the instrument can strive on its own. So look at the utility, look at the use case. If you can't really define the use case or utility of the financial instrument, that is most likely Ponzi.
Yeah, it's brilliant the way you have laid it out, and I'm hoping many young people are watching this right now and understanding basically where to go from this. But to help them further, what would you say they should be investing in right now? What are some of the investment opportunities that you think young Nigerians, especially looking at the tides of the nation right now, you know, what should they be investing in right now? What do you think should be their focus, basically?
Well, one thing they can invest in is stocks, the Nigerian stock market, the cryptocurrency market. Well, because one thing I like with the cryptocurrency market is this: it helps you take advantage of the global economy, right? Of course, inflation and forex and all that, we all know how at some point inflation can eat up money. But when you invest money in assets that are not just limited to your region, they also play in the global market, that gives you advantage because you hold your asset now in foreign currencies. So young Nigerians can invest in the cryptocurrency market, in the stock market, in government investment like treasury bills, savings bonds, and even in mutual funds. So these are the opportunities available in the market for young Nigerians to put money. Right.
Okay, so which would be the most potent for them? You know, you laid out a couple of them out there, especially when it comes to the government and all that. And then people are saying, hey, the economy is having issues, the nation is not stable as it were. Should we really be investing those money back into things here? Or should we be looking outside? Maybe use a bamboo for an instance and then look for where to put your money in those type of stuff, right? What would you want them to consider really?
Well, I think this question is tricky because when it comes to investing is an individual something. What is good for Mr. A might not be good for Mr. B. Because as an investor, you should look at your risk appetite. You should look at your goal. Because this investment, their time frame varies. You should look at your goal, you should look at your risk appetite, and most importantly, you should also look at your income. Right? So I can't really say for sure that all of them are good. It just depends on as an individual, as a young person, what is your goal at that moment? Are you investing to start a business in 2 years' time? Are you investing to pay your rent? Are you investing to build long-term wealth? It just depends on what you want. What you want will not determine the kind of thing you should put your money in.
Okay, I'm tempted to make you want to go into a thing like long-term wealth, but we'll come back to that. But before that, let's ask you, we just talked about gambling and all the rest. It's been marketed as an investment opportunity by many youths. And what should they really understand before making such a claim that, hey, this is my investment beliefs and all that kind of stuff we hear, right? What should they really know about it? I mean, many people will say they've heard it before, but I think it's right time we put it straight to them and say, this is what it is.
Well, one thing a lot of young persons should know is this: gambling is 100% dependent on luck, not strategy. You have to be lucky to make money from gambling, and you can't really build true wealth based on just luck. True wealth is really built from strategy, from skill, from discipline, and from patience. And secondly, gambling defies the whole essence of wealth building. Look at anybody that built wealth, especially through investing. Most of you notice that these individuals have an insane level of patience and discipline. But gambling trains you to be impatient. Gambling trains you to be impatient because you want to get the returns fast. And lastly, the whole economy, the whole industry, the whole gambling idea, betting companies actually win when you lose. They make money when you lose money. So they are not expecting you to win. The whole idea of them staying in business is from your losses. So they can't just they are not really there for you. They are just there for themselves. So when you understand this, you know that gambling is not in.
So now that we've ironed this, let's now go back. If a young person is saying, I want to build, long-term wealth, I really want wealth that would last for generations. Where do they start from? Especially looking at the nation. This nation is not like any other nation. But I'm guessing as an investor, if you understand the dynamics, then you can play around it. So what should they go into? Where should they be putting their money? How do they go about it?
Well, okay, first thing the individual should do is to put the money in, let's say, in investments that can stand the test of time. For instance, individual can invest the money in the stock market. There are companies that have been around for years, and this company will still stay for a long period of time, right? They can buy shares and stock in those companies, right? Also, they can put their money in mutual funds. Mutual funds have been around for a long period of time, and they will likely still be around for a long period of time. They can put their money in those assets too. So stocks, mutual funds, and even new investment coming up like the crypto market, right? Bitcoin have been around for a couple of years, and it will still be around because the fundamentals is increasing. People are buying Bitcoin on a daily basis. These are assets that will be around. And even precious metals like gold. Buying gold is an investment. Gold has been around for a very, very long period of time. It's going to be around. Even real estate, land. Land is going to be around for a very long period of time. In fact, most people preserve wealth for the long term through land, investing in land. So these are things people should consider putting their money in. Stocks, mutual funds, cryptocurrency, precious metals, and landed properties.
All right, that's well said. What is the biggest lie you think, though, that social media money influencers are really telling young people, especially Nigerians today? What's like the biggest one you feel they are being told?
They make it look as if wealth building is something that can happen overnight. They make it look as if wealth is really easy to build. In fact, the process of wealth building is a boring process, because you have to stick to repetitive routines. You have to do the same thing all over again. You have to budget, you have to plan your money. The process is a boring process. But these guys make it seem as if anybody can just become rich overnight. For instance, these days, a lot of people out there make it seem as if anybody can become rich overnight by investing in the cryptocurrency market. But in the real sense, it's not like that. It takes a lot of patience, skill, and strategy to really make money, build sustainable wealth in the cryptocurrency market. So these days, money influencers don't really give people the right information, let them understand that it's not really easy as it is. You need to invest time and use patience.
Okay, so again, if you could, as a young person, redesign Nigeria's financial policy, what would be that one change you would like to see when it comes to investment that will make investment easier for the young people, you and me and some people who are still way younger than we are, if they really want to invest? What kind of framework would you like to change?
I will try to infuse financial education into our educational system. Try to educate people properly about money. A lot of persons don't have good relationship with money and investing. I stated earlier that over the past few years, Nigerians have lost billions of naira to Ponzi scheme. I think that problem alone would have been averted if a lot of persons are financially intelligent and financially exposed. So, personally, I would like to infuse compulsory money class, money teachings, investment teachings into our tertiary institutions and our secondary institutions. Something basic that will teach people the essence of wealth building, basic investment tips, and help them identify Ponzi schemes from the region. I believe that will solve a lot of problems now.
Yeah, it's funny talking to you because you study biochemistry and you have a first class, and for some reason you would not practice? I know you've done some work along the line, but for some reason, you would rather think financial education, which is very, very serious, and it's brilliant. It's very brilliant. So let's go back to something some other persons would rather do, right? You know, let's say I want to save 50,000 naira per month. I want to just set the money aside. How do those kind of things work? Knowing that we have emergencies, exigencies, there are so many things that can come up. How do those things work when it comes to wealth building, putting money aside? How do those things really, really work? I mean, in the truest sense of it, as a young person especially.
Okay, let me say, hypothetically, there's a young guy that earns 200,000 naira per month. How would that person build wealth? The thing is simple. The first thing the individual should do is to set up an emergency fund. Take a little portion. After the person has taken, let's say 50% of his or her income to cover his expenses, major expenses, like house rent. Of course, the person will need to live somewhere, clothing, shelter, the basic things. A large chunk of the money, between 50 to 70%, should be able to cover your major basic needs as an individual. Then the remaining percentage, it varies. For some others, it could be 50%, it could be 30%, it could be 20%, it could even be as little as 10%, depending on the individual and the income. The person should first of all have some part of the money as savings or as an emergency fund. Because the real magic when it comes to investing is compounding, allowing your investment to compound. That is how you can really build true wealth, when you allow it to compound over time. So you need to have something stacked somewhere that will save you during rainy days, so that you're not going to sell up your investment. So when you have sorted the issue of emergency and savings, then that is when you should think of investing. Then you can now say you take a little part of your income. I was using 200,000 as example, assuming I was making 200,000 a month, and I spend 100,000 as my major expenses. Hypothetically, I have 100,000 left. I can decide now to not put 30. I'll just keep it somewhere. It maybe when I need money. Then I can decide to leave the rest 70,000 into 35. Put one part in the Nigerian stock market or the US stock market, mutual fund, which is like a low risk investment to balance my portfolio. One part in a high risk investment like the stock market or the crypto market. Another part in mutual fund, which are generally low risk to balance my portfolio. And do this consistently over a long period of time, depending on my goal. For some persons, they are doing it to start a business in the future. For some, they are doing it for retirement. Doing it consistently over a long period of time, 10, 20, 30 years. That is where you are going to see the magic of compounding. And that is how you can really build wealth.
Now, it's okay the way you've put it, and it's very brilliant. In all honesty, it's very nice the way you have said it and the way you have really, distributed it. But you use 200 as the margin, but the minimum wage as we speak is a 70,000, 30 to 70,000, be something of that nature. And then the question then becomes, if I'm going to eat, do transportation and all that, the question becomes, how really can that person invest? Or the person, are you saying that the person has to then wait until real other sources of funds and income come in before they can think of investment? Because, what really can you do with 70,000 as a Nigerian today?
Yeah, for somebody earning 70,000, like I said earlier, your major priority should be increasing your capacity to earn at that level. You understand? You earning 70,000 forever is your choice. If you increase your capacity, of course, increase your skill level, increase your knowledge level, you are either going to get promoted or you are going to go for a better job or earn an income, earn more income. So when you are earning low, you are earning very low, your priority shouldn't be to invest in financial instruments. Your priority should be to invest in yourself. And when we talk about 70,000, right, it's still relative. 70,000 for a 90-year-old is not the same thing as 70,000 for a 30-year-old. A 90-year-old most likely might not have any responsibility. He or she might most likely just be in his parents' house, and the only major expense he has is data. But for a 30-year-old, that's much. That means a 19-year-old can start investing with 70,000 naira, but a 30-year-old cannot invest. So at the same time, 200,000 naira might still be big for somebody that is 30, but it doesn't make sense for somebody that is in his 40s. So you as an individual should evaluate yourself and ask yourself, can this income allow me to invest? If the answer is no, then your priority should be increasing the income. And the simple way to do this is by increasing your skill level, increase your capacity to learn.
All right, increase your skill level. Before I let you go, just in 30 seconds, let's dream in 30 seconds. Is it still possible? Do you believe it is possible for the Nigerian youth to retire peacefully in this nation today, like retire in that financial happiness and stability? Do you really think it is possible?
Yes, I think it's possible. Very, very possible. And I think the simple solution is equipping you as an individual, equip yourself with the right knowledge. I believe with the right knowledge, anybody can retire peacefully in Nigeria. So it is very, very, very possible.